Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Willingham versus Griffin Allen.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
Ms. Willingham, you are here to prove that Nathaniel Allen, who tragically passed away, fathered your son, Nicorian, because his mother and aunt say he is not the father, preventing you from collecting death benefits. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Griffin, you and your sister say Ms. Willingham is trying to pin this child on your deceased son so she can collect Social Security death benefits and work the system. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Willingham, what has this past year and a half been like since Nathaniel's family denies your son?
It's been hard. It's just basically me. I mean, I'm a strong, independent woman of my children. I don't ask for help. So as far as depending on the system, I don't know where they're getting that from. I barely call them and ask them for anything. So I just basically want to get the results out that, you know, Nathaniel is the father of Nicorian, so they can know, you know, and I'm just...
I can see this is really upsetting you. You don't know where to begin. Ms. Griffin?
Yes.
You say Ms. Willingham is here about the money.
Yes.
Explain to the court why you feel that way.
Because like about 6 weeks after my son had passed, he come to me and says, you have to go and help me. Y'all need to help me. And I said, what do I need to do? So she took me to the Social Security office, and they told her she had to get letters. So I wrote a letter and a couple of others. And no, I didn't believe this. This is my grandson.
You say you just don't believe
No.
this is his biological child. You don't believe this is your grandson.
No.
And so she needed you to confirm that this was your son's biological child.
Yes.
Did you write the letter?
Yes, I did.
Did you bring that letter to court today?
No, I did not.
I have the letter.
You do have the letter?
Yes.
I'd like to see that. So, Ms. Willingham, you asked Ms. Griffin to please write a letter on your behalf because you wanted to present it to the Social Security office so that you could potentially collect death benefits for your child, whom you say is Nathaniel Allen's biological child. She wrote, "To whom it may concern, I am Latricia Griffin, the mother of Nathaniel Allen, who is deceased. This is what he told me." There's 2 blanks. These are his kids, but Nicorian Allen, he had doubt, so he wanted to get a blood test on him. Thank you, Latricia Griffin. P.S. If we can get a blood test on him, that will solve everything, please. What you're testifying is that this letter hurt your case.
They needed proof, basically, from his family that they witnessed him saying that Nicorian was his son, and they couldn't provide me with that information.
Before you saw this letter, did you know that there were doubts?
I've heard rumors that they didn't think, but, you know, me and Nathaniel, way before he passed, had a conversation, and he told me that, you know, he knew that Nicorian was his son. Before he passed, he wanted me to give him the information so he could put them on his 401k plan.
Well, me and Nathaniel had a conversation too, and he told me that he didn't think that Nicorian was his son. He said that it was not his son.
Because Nathaniel has caught you and this other person.
Girl, boo.
And he walked out on him.
Lady,
He come
no.
to me and he said, Mom,
no,
that's not my baby, because she come to me talking, it's my baby, it's not.
When you say he caught her, your son told you he caught Ms. Willingham with another man?
Yes.
Miss Willingham and my nephew was not together when the baby was conceived. He was in another relationship with someone else.
girl,
Yes,
boo.
yes.
Her
Please.
son,
Because they were
no.
staying with me.
And she
That's all.
wasn't. She was staying with
Stand
somebody.
with you.
Yes,
no.
him and the other
No.
friend was staying with me when they weren't together.
No.
Who was staying with you?
My son and his other friend.
Okay, was staying with you.
Yes.
So you knew he had moved on and was in another relationship.
Yes.
And you believe she had moved on and was in
Yes.
another relationship.
Yes.
And you believe that person could potentially be Nicorian's father?
Yes, I do.
Me and Nathaniel was on and off for 6 years. We were staying together, on and off.
No.
When we get into an argument or fight or whatever, he go run to his mom's. She would keep him away from me so he can stay over there with her or do what he want to do. He had his little, his little flings or whatever.
No, I didn't want you to hurt my son.
Hurt your son? What did I do?
You hurt him.
Your son hurted me.
No.
What do you mean? You know
hurted
your
my
son wasn't
by
right.
going
Whatever.
with other guys.
Other guys?
Yes.
No, your son was a whore.
Because you're
okay?
not
Whatever.
All right, let's
That's what
be
it was.
respectful.
Yeah.
Let's
Say what
be
both of y'all
respectful.
was. You can't
You
call
don't- you
one.
not-
one
you
and
should
call
be
the
up
other.
in this
Hold on,
business.
hold on.
Come on,
Honey.
he called me every day.
Ladies, let's get some order.
Please do.
Let's get some
That's
order.
wrong food with them because they ignorant.
Let's get some order.
Dramatic asses.
All right. So you all had time when you were apart. You were on and off. And so you believe that Nicorian was conceived during a time when your son was not intimate with Ms. Willingham? Is that what he told you?
Yes.
And Ms. Willingham, you dispute that. You say that is not the case.
That's not the case. He left me for a whore. We were together. I called him. I took 2 pregnancy tests. I missed my cycle. I called him when I found out, when it came out positive, I called him and let him know that. He was laying in the bed next with the woman, you know what I'm saying, he had left me for. Why would I, as a woman, put a child on someone if I knew that, he wasn't the father of my child? I don't, no.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. So did you ever try to get a DNA test before today?
Well, I couldn't because, he's deceased. We've talked about it, but we never went through it.
But did he ever deny that Nicorian was his child?
He did deny when I did tell him, when I found out I was pregnant with Nicorian when I was 2 months pregnant. 2 months pregnant. I did not know I was pregnant before then. I had ended up meeting someone when I was 2 months pregnant, but I was already pregnant with Nathaniel's child. So that's why they don't think that Nathaniel is the father of Nicorian.
My son asked for a DNA, but she wouldn't give it to him.
No, that's not the case. We couldn't afford a DNA at that time.
Because he came and asked me too.
Whatever.
And I told him, I said, whenever you like, I would go with you.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to help me because y'all not trying to really be in these kids' life, period. That's not the case. And I
on
really
the
don't
day
care
that
if y'all
she
do.
had the baby, he didn't even go to the hospital because he said it was none of his.
He's a liar.
Was he at the hospital, Ms. Willingham?
No. Matter of fact,
no.
I went through the whole pregnancy by myself. It was me and my baby, okay? When I was in labor, she called me and was like, have you talked to my son? And I told her no. And I don't want to. I'm fine without him.
I didn't have no reason to call you because my son said he didn't have nothing to do with you.
Okay, if that's the case, my son still be going over to your house. What do you mean?
Because I help you.
Whatever. Help me do what?
You need a child care to go to work.
Okay, so I work.
Okay, I watched you while you go to work.
Whatever.
I didn't want you to lose your
Ladies, I need you to talk one at a time, but I do want to understand this because this is interesting testimony. You're saying, Ms. Willingham, that on the day you were giving birth, Ms. Griffin called you to say, had you talked to Nathaniel?
She sure did.
Which would seem to indicate that, well, has he heard so he can come to the hospital?
Basically, she said, have you talked to my son? And I told her no, and
Did he ever show up at the hospital?
And I was fine with it.
Is he on the birth certificate?
No, he's not. He's not on none of his kids' birth
And so
certificates.
after you brought the baby home, you say since that time, Ms. Griffin, has opened her home to your children.
To this day.
For you, that seems to indicate that she accepts.
My thing is, if I feel like
I
a
helped
child
her.
is not
I
my
helped her
son's,
because she's working.
help me.
She don't have daycare.
I don't even call
I watch
you.
everybody's kids. I'm a grandmother.
Whatever. You
If
watch
you need some help to go to work and keep a roof over your head, I'm going to help you.
She barely helped
That
me.
doesn't mean I
She
think
helped
that your
her.
son
She
is
helped
right.
her 2 other daughters with their kids more than her. Since he passed, it's been hell. They don't really spend time with my kids. They don't call my kids. Nothing.
Ms. Allen, tell the court what you understand about this situation.
Well, what I understand about it is when the baby was born, my nephew had called me from work and told me to come over there and look at the baby. And I didn't have a problem with that. So when I got over there, first thing he said, the baby don't look like me, Auntie, it's not mine.
So your nephew, the deceased, he told you to your face.
Yes.
He says it.
Yes.
He
He
was like-
called me to come to look at the baby.
He wanted you to see the baby.
Yes, ma'am.
And that seems to suggest that he was confused as to whether or not it was his biological child.
Yes, ma'am. He also told our cousin Shauna that it wasn't his as well.
And if you want to talk to her, I have her number. We can call and talk to her.
Well, I actually do want to talk to her then. You have her number?
Yes, I do.
Please write it down. And Jerome, will you get that telephone number from me?
The baby's not on here.
Thank you. What is your cousin's name? Oh, you wrote it down.
Yes,
LaShawna London.
Hello,
Hello? Is LaShawna London in, please?
this is me.
Hello, Ms. London. This is Judge Lake calling from Paternity Court. We are here discussing the paternity of Nicorian Allen. And your family is in court today saying that Mr. Allen, Nathaniel, had words with you concerning this child. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am. He said that he was kind of positive that it wasn't his.
He was
But
positive.
down the line, later on, he wasn't sure.
So do you know anything personally, firsthand, about this entire situation?
I just know what my cousin be telling me. They used to just have problems, but they'll get back together. And then on the last one on Corian, they wasn't together. He was doing his thing, she was doing her thing. But me personally, I think Corian is his.
Looks just like him.
You do?
He looks just like him.
It is your testimony that despite the fact that Nathaniel told you that this was not his biological child, you believe it is?
Yeah, me personally, because he kind of favors.
All right, well, thank you for taking the call. Bye-bye.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Well, that surprised you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
You've never heard her say that before?
Never.
No.
It did confirm your testimony in the sense that she said he initially said, "This is not my child."
Yes.
And then he said, "I'm not sure." And then she offered her opinion that she believed, in fact, it was.
Yes. Because that's his last words he asked me to do. He said, "Mom, I want you to help me to see if this is my son."
And that's why when Ms. Willingham asked you to write the letter to the Social Security office, what you wrote is what your son asked you to do.
Yes.
You said he had doubts, and please may we have a DNA test.
Yes.
And it's a very complicated situation. So to help, the court would like to call Faye Sykes. She is a national financial security advisor. Jerome, can you please escort Ms. Sykes into the courtroom?
Sure. Stand.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Ms. Sykes.
Absolutely.
We are here discussing a very complicated case because unfortunately the potential father is deceased and we cannot get testimony from him. How difficult is it getting death benefits for a child?
Social Security office needs to be able to show that this is a descendant of the deceased. When there is not both names on the birth certificate, there are some other ways that we can go about to get that proven.
And so how would you get that proof?
So if the father had listed the child on an income tax return, listed the child as a beneficiary in a will or a life insurance policy, if there potentially might have been anything in writing where he spoke about the child being his, those could be admissible for making that a valid claim with the Social Security office.
What does a mother do in that situation when the deceased family is not cooperative?
So what I would recommend is, setting an appointment with the Social Security office, calling them ahead of time and explaining the situation. They'll tell you what documents are required so that when you go in, they can potentially go ahead and accept that as a claimant for the deceased. If there is not enough valid information, they could deny the claim.
And so if Ms. Willingham would have allowed Mr. Allen to put Nicorian on the 401k paperwork and information, it's a possibility that she could have collected those death benefits, right?
Correct.
But if it's proven today that he is not the biological father, then she can't.
Exactly.
So the stakes are high. I think it's time to go to the results. Jerome? Thank you. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. Because there wasn't a blood card available to test the DNA of the deceased, Nathaniel Allen, we performed a grandparentage test in order to determine if the deceased mother, Latricia Griffin, is related to Nicorian Allen. The results read as follows. Do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listings. In the case of Willingham versus Griffin, when it comes to 4-year-old Nicorian Allen, it has been determined by this court, Latricia Griffin and Nicorian Allen are related.
Yeah, you know.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I just want to say, I'm glad he's my grandbaby because that's number 14.
Wow. Yes.
And I would like for her to bring him over more than she has been bringing him over. I don't care what she say, but bring him.
Ms. Willingham, as much as you felt rejected and maybe put off and denied, that protection you felt over Nicorian is that same protection Ms. Griffin felt over her child. And he may have expressed just some doubt. You know, your child says something to you as a mother, you feel it too.
Yes, and I did.
And we hope that this moment in time will start the reparation of that. All right? We have counseling and resources for you all. I wish you the very best of luck. Court is adjourned.
Thank you.